Alright folks, welcome back to the channel. It is Saturday the 25th, I believe, and I'm going to be using a GoPro today, a new camera we got here for the channel. See how it works, see how the quality is, and overall get a feel for this video, for this camera here. So where we left off on the last clip was this quarter panel. So it's now the next day. I left my space heater plugged in. It is a toasty 82 degrees, which is good. This thing's been baking for, oh, I don't know, 18 hours or so, 16 hours. And it's supposed to be about 80 degrees outside and not a drop of rain. So that's good. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna push this out and I'm gonna be working outside on it this time. I'm gonna start on the other side quarter panel. Man, we're doing body work in this little room. It just creates a huge mess everywhere. It gets everywhere, and this is where I actually paint, so you really don't want to be doing body work wherever you paint. So it's too late for that, but whatever. So anyways, I'm gonna push this thing out and I'm gonna start working on the driver's side quarter panel, which should go a lot quicker. So I'll bring you guys back once we get set up. All right, so here we are. I've been at it for about 2 hours or so. It's almost lunchtime. What I've gotten so far is this top fin blocked down. And this side right here had a lot of little dingers. You know, I don't know. I think this car must have been owned by a drunk or something, because this thing just had a lot of dents in random places. So this is pretty much the last skim on that. All this is pretty flat. And this is where things got a little tricky with the where we seamed. So this section right here was all new. Well, new to the car. So it took a little bit. I used a slap hammer, and one of the only dollies that I have. Slap hammer works pretty good for this. So all I did was basically push it up from underneath with the dolly and slap the top of it, and it did help it quite a bit. So last skim on this, a little something back here, but not bad. And this area right here is actually pretty good. So about the next 30 minutes or so, I think the top fin will be done. We're gonna work our way down. So like I said yesterday, this whole area right here is actually pretty good. If you remember right here, this is where the where we had the blow through whenever we took it down to bare metal. So Bobby was able to tack it up. It needs a skim or two. It's not bad at all though. So this whole top section is the section that we replaced. So actually I take that back. We replaced the whole thing. We replaced from this seam right here and that seam right there. We replaced this whole quarter panel with the quarter panel off a two-door Bel Air or Biscayne. That's why there's no trim holes. Don't have to drill the trim holes. It does have an Audi here. But overall, this side is going to be easier than the other side. Doubt I'm going to finish it today, but I say I'm going to finish it within the week or so. Main thing I want to do is at least get some progress going. So we'll take you inside and see what else we got going on today. It's a beautiful day out here. It's like 80 degrees. Hey. That's a nice shirt there. Where'd you buy?
I used to work there.
I can't hear you.
I used to work there.
Oh, you used to work at Summit?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to fix my busted up wheel well here. got Bobby in there working on the wheel well. I had put out a APB for a passenger side wheel well for a 60 because mine was a little soft under the battery tray, and I couldn't find, well, I did find a couple of them, but they're far away. Shipping is a lot of money, so we're trying to fix what we got. And we got Boy Wonder back there taking the trunk down to bare metal. So we're gonna get some good progress on this car today. Bring you guys back once this top fin is done. All right, so here we are. It's about 2:30 in the afternoon, and the top fin is, I think it's pretty much done for this stage. This area posed a little bit of problem. We had a pretty big high spot right here, and then it started oil canning, so I had to bust out the shrinking disc again, and it actually worked. Now it's really tight, so feels good and smooth. Move down to the rocker here. Use a stud gun here. This thing is junk, but whatever, it works when it wants to. So I pulled out a couple of dingers and then basically skim coat the whole thing. With Rage, mixed it with the plastic honey. That stuff makes it really easy to spread. And then I'm getting ready to do some spreads here on this area. So this is what I found. So what I did was I originally blocked the whole thing with 180. Found some lows, but if the lows they're not scuffed, then the filler's not going to bite into it. So what I did was I blocked it with 180, saw the low, scratched the low up with 80 grit, then guide coat, then 180 again, and what's remaining is guide coat in 80 grit scratches, so I can see where I need to put the filler. So they're real minor, but not too bad. So I'm going to work on the rocker. I'm going to work on this section in here and see what time it is then. So you guys back once we get some more work in. So we got the trunk, well, he got the trunk in bare metal here. We used the blue conditioning disc. How many did you use? How many take? 4 or 5. 4 or 5. And then hit it with the DA 80 grit. So it's a pretty good piece, I think. It's still going to need some blocking though, but overall, it's really solid. So right now we're using the alcohol base, or water base, water and alcohol, basically wax and grease remover. And we're going to hang it to spray it. Underside is done as well. Took you about what, 5 hours? About 5 hours of work non-stop. And you think it was original paint? Had multiple layers of paint on it? Okay. So we're going to be spraying it with the usual SPI epoxy. Mixed up 16 ounces. That should be enough. I don't know. Might need to mix up some more. We'll see. Got plenty of time. So we'll bring you guys back once we get it hung up and start spraying. here we are. We got 3 coats up top and 2 on the back side. So this thing was bare metaled and it's protected by this epoxy now all around. And so just moving forward, I think next up on this is going to be the doors. We're going to bare metal the doors. So it's a pretty good trunk. It does need, it got a couple dingers. Probably won't show up on camera. A little heavy up here, got a little bit of cratering, but it's only epoxy, so I'm not worried about it. So, next up, like I say, is the doors. Fender's gonna get the same treatment, and then I kind of want to assemble everything on a body cart and block it all together as one full car. That's the plan at least. So, keep on moving. Hope you guys enjoyed this update. Bring you guys back and get some more work. All right, welcome back to the channel here. Today is Sunday, April 2nd, 2023. And I just put in about 5 hours to wrap up this week. I think I got about 28 hours in this quarter panel. So what I've done basically up to this point is Evercoat Rage Ultra, some of this plastic honey to thin it out a little. I did some metal to metal over the welded seams and a lot of blocking. So blocked it in 80 grit, epoxied any bare metal, blocked it again, just a lot of body work. And then on Friday I got it in epoxy, full coat, full quarter panel, 2 coats. And then today I blocked it in 180 and got it in 2 more coats of epoxy. So I think this is where it's gonna be. But so far all this is just epoxy and body filler. No high build yet of any kind. So I'm liking it. It's been a long week. And I did test fit the skirt, so it fits pretty good. I missed a spot back here, but I'm gonna work this whole tail panel. That's gonna be another chapter. We'll also have to make a little cut here and bring this curve out a little bit, because when I go to mock the trim up, it's quite a gap. So that needs a little bit of surgery, but not bad. So I think what's going to happen next is basically this is going to sit in the epoxy, and then I'm going to do the same to the other side, 180 grit and then 2 coats, so that way both sides will be up to speed. And then basically it's going to sit until I'm ready for some poly primer, which, looking at the car, it doesn't really need poly primer, but I'm going to do it anyways as a safe measure. Need some around the wheel lip, but when the time comes, I'll block this down with 180 again, then poly primer it with some, I believe it's feather filled what I got. So still got to do the center section, got to get in the trunk and do the center section here. But the other side, if I can go around here, where I left off on this side was Bodywork 80 grit, 3 coats of epoxy. So I'm gonna block this down with 180 and see, it should be pretty much up to speed with the other side. Got to do the center section, and so then the bulk of the body work for the shell would be done. On the other side, I'm gonna have to draw all these holes out for the side molding, which is gonna be a job. I do got some cross flags. I bought some cross flags. I need to get the script, but I do have the airplanes. They're already polished. I got the long stainless that's already polished. So once I get this thing basically up to speed on both sides, hopefully maybe by Tuesday, and then I'm gonna start on the trunk. Body work the trunk, get the trunk back on. Gonna have to do some work in the gutter here. That's where we welded it in. It's just all metal right now. And then I want to block it with the trunk on. So pretty proud of this quarter panel here. It was quite a job, and like I say, I test fit the skirt. The skirt fits really good with no weather strip. I did order some weather strip for that, so that's gonna help it the little bit that it might need. So, enough yakking. I'll bring you guys back once I get the other side of 180.